Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Leo. If Leo is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, but also your Venus or Saturn or any of the placements that you might be looking for, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so, Leo, I'm so happy to have you here. And our card that maybe will influence the tone of the reading, maybe not, right? We have the Five of Swords, which has to do kind of with an energy of defeat, something not really going as you planned, maybe being a little let down by the situation. But, sometimes we get these cards and it has nothing to do with you. It's maybe an energy that is in your orbit. Somebody else is going through it. I don't know, but we have to look. Let's take a look. And so, if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. All right. So immediately I'm seeing that we have, it looks like, we have a person flying a kite right here. You can see, here is their head, their leg is right here. Here's another leg. They're holding on to the string of the kite. It's right up here. Now you can see we have two other people over here. I can almost imagine kind of standing and watching. Now beneath we have a house, okay? And it looks like somebody returning home, okay? You can see down here, we have what looks like what I'm perceiving to be kind of a motherly archetype, possibly the mother goddess. We have the head here. We have the body kind of in here. Now, next to it, it looks like we have a wolf. Okay, you can see the eyes right here. This is how it's just a side profile of the head. So the ears are up here. This is the nose. You can see the mouth. And it is facing this way. It looks like it's chomping down on this middle goddess figure. We also have a person who is kind of in a kneeling position, almost in a worshipful posture, right? Now we also have the sword right here by their feet, okay? So I want to start up here with the person flying the kite. Now the kite almost always indicates to me that there's a period of kind of profound daydreaming, innovation, creativity. You are in your thoughts a lot lately. Maybe kind of a dissociative thing, but most likely to me, I feel like you are in a state of inspiration, right? You are receiving the beautiful gifts of the universe, those fragments of information, the little abstract pieces that come together to form concepts and ideas and beautiful new creations. And I can see you really in this kind of this state of going over what you have received, right? The things that maybe you've been out there this summer, living your life, reading your books, watching movies, going to concerts, spending time in the out of doors. And now I know I will not forget you in the Southern Hemisphere. Just get rid of the summer and put in the winter. Maybe you've been indoors a little bit more. You've been spending time with your loved ones. you've been cozy reading your book and dreaming deeply, kind of in that incubation, phase of your year, and now reemerging into the world, reemerging into maybe a more active role. And during this time, I feel like you are considering what is going to be next. What is my next project? Maybe how can I further the project I've been a little bit stalled out on? Where will I be spending my time? Okay. And as you are really in this thought, I feel that there are people around you who really support your endeavors, right? This is probably somebody or somebody's who've known you for a long time, right? Maybe your whole life. I mean, they might be parents, they might be best friends or good friends. It might be even, a spouse, a significant other, but they know you so well, and they know this is part of your process. And, and I think that to a large degree, there is this willingness from these people who they care for you so deeply, to help foster this process that you're in, this creative, this work, this inventing, whatever it is. And so I think it gives you room to really explore and not to really worry so much that you are kind of being selfish with your time, because they understand, right? This is something that you must partake in to get to the next step. And it is such a blessing, such a wonderful rarity to have people around you who not only understand and recognize that this is part of your process, but that they want to help make sure that you are able to continue your desires, your need to make, to create, to weave together, right? And that's what I'm thinking here, is like, it's almost like you really are like this beautiful weaving creator. I can imagine like sitting at the loom, getting all of the pieces and the yarn, the strands of fibers, and bringing them all together in this most beautiful way. And so then I want to move down to this imagery we have of the middle goddess kind of being doted over, devoted, a devoted devotee, right? And we have the sword, we have the wolf, okay? So the sword, as we know with the Ace of Swords or the Suit of Swords, that this is airy. This has to do with our logic, our creativity, our problem solving, being quite perceptive and so on, quite an intellectual. And so I feel like this is the concern of life right now. Now you might have a day job, you might have a family, you might have a lot of things going on, but this is taken priority. Absolutely. This is the thing that, that is most important right now in your life. And so, with that middle goddess, I feel like this is kind of, it is like the muse. It is like the muse. It is that fiery energy, that furnace, that thing that you if you could imagine, right, a kiln. And a kiln is a little kind of oven, right? And this is where you put your ceramics, if you're making pots or sculptures or whatever. And you put it in there and you bake them, what they call firing them. And this fortifies your piece of pottery, right? Or you can glaze in the kiln, which is, you paint it up and you put it in there and it makes a beautiful glaze. And I'm looking at this middle goddess, and I feel like this is the energy of the furnace, that most holy alchemical, furnace. And it speaks to me in this way of, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, there's nothing else, right? Of course you have a lot of things in your life. Of course you do. But this feels like the central goal. And maybe it is that you've always been a creative and you've always been on this path. You knew from a young age, I want to be a writer. I want to be a painter. I want to, make films or music or whatever it is, right? Maybe fashion or street art or, so many avenues, and maybe probably more than one discipline for you. And this, whenever you start to get away from it, whenever you stray from the path, when life kind of comes up and you are busy working that 9 to 5, keeping a house together, raising children, grandchildren, whatever it is. And we all do, right? We all have these moments in life where, yeah, of course I'd like to be, spending my days taking walks and getting, beautiful inspirations from the world and bringing it back home and making something with it. But it doesn't always work out that way, right? A lot of days it's just the tedium. It's just the trying to get through the dang thing. And a lot of times we're just on autopilot, right? But when this continues and it a week goes by, months go by, years go by, you start to feel unlike yourself because you haven't been creating. You haven't been in that realm of thinking, which it is. It's a completely different mode that we're in when we are creating. And everything that goes around, the creation process, the research, the gathering of materials and so on. And so I feel you getting back to this place, and it is something that it's like, why did I ever stop? How could I have possibly, walked away from this? How could I have, let other things kind of get in the way? Because this is what I need. This is what my soul needs, right? And that wolf, I feel like for me, looking at that, it is kind of a underlying fear. Maybe even kind of a nervousness of losing this flow. And that's ultimately what it is. It's like that thing where you're having fun, right? You're just so immersed in the moment, and then suddenly you become aware of that, and you start to think, oh my gosh, is this almost over? Oh my gosh, you know, I wish this would last forever. And oh no, now it's going to be coming to an end. And then you spend that time worrying about, how am I going to recreate this? How am I going to get back to this? How do I get this feeling once again? And you've squandered the experience in some ways, right? And I feel like that's what that wolf is. It's kind of like the thing knocking at the door. You're in your little creative hut, in your temple, in your, you know, in your theater, laboratory of creation, and that knock, you know, that feeling of, oh, I'm going to get pulled away from this place again. And what if I don't find my way back, right? What if I forget how to do this thing? You know, even for me, sometimes I do so many readings. I work usually 7 days a week, right? And do multiple readings every day. And every once in a while, I'll take a day off, you know, maybe like 1 or 2 days a month. And even just though when I have like a day off, I come back the next day after that and I worry, what if I forgot how to read tea leaves? What if I forgot what I'm doing? You know, and when it goes, now I haven't had a break, but if I did, a couple of weeks, a few months, I don't know that I would feel so concerned, right? Do I know what I'm doing? And once I get back into it, what if I stop again? Because what if next time I really don't ever come back to the thing? You know, and I think that's what the worry is. So, we also have the person who is in this kind of praise, right? In this posture of devotion. And, you know, ultimately, I feel like this is kind of a surrender. This is an honoring a surrender to. Let yourself go with the flow. Try to get that thought out of your head because it is only there to disrupt. It doesn't matter how long this period of creativity lasts. It is a blessing that you have gotten back into it and that you have the time and resources and motivation to do so. Okay? So take advantage of this because it is a most blessed time. Not everybody gets to that point. No, you know, there's a lot of people in the world who are probably very creative, very talented, and they just never find their thing. You know, so to have found the thing that you love to do, or the things you love to do, and to be able to come into that and at times have to leave it and then return to it, that is a blessing. Okay? Now, we have, it looks like, I'm reading this as scent. C-E-N-T. I don't know if that means something to you or not, but that is in there. We also have, now let's see. We have a large 3 and a 2. So we have a large 3 and a 2. And we also have, it looks like it says web. W-E-B, web. So we have scent and web. Now we also have a bowl. Okay, and it looks like it's holding, I don't know, something. We have 2 people standing upon it. They look like mammaries to me. So again, with this kind of nurturing goddess energy, mother's milk, And then next to it, we have a face, which is side profile. You can see kind of the eye right here. Here's the mouth. The nose is right in here. Here's the chin. The hair up here, looking towards the future. Now we have the bowl up here. You can see the head. Here are the horns, standing, holding these mammaries, you can see. And then one person here, and then another person standing here. Okay, so I feel that there's almost a, it feels like maybe you had like an older feminine person in your family who is maybe a creative. I'm wondering if they were a painter or, and maybe this is why even this kind of analogy of the kiln came up. Maybe they were somebody who worked in ceramics or pottery. But I feel like this was somebody who maybe you weren't super close to, but they really influenced your life. I almost wonder if this is like an auntie, an auntie, your aunt or great aunt, maybe a grandmother that wasn't very like involved with your life, but somebody you admired whenever you were with them or around them. Now, I don't know, maybe they were a Taurus, but we do have this bull energy. And to me, it really kind of brings up this feeling of being lost in the labyrinth, right? And you can think of like the Minotaur. And again, kind of almost this curse of being a creative person, because you get lost. You get lost in this other place that you have a hard time really communicating with people. And maybe it is the only way that you can is through your artwork, your writing, your music. And I feel like maybe this family member had kind of the same thing going on, and maybe why they felt so distant, because there seems to be kind of a not even a breakdown of communication, but there just never was really, like, you know, the phone line, and this is going to age me, but the phone line to the house was cut off, right? There was no, you know, communicating back and forth. And I feel like maybe it was that they just were a very solitary person, or they maybe had like their tiny little family unit and that's all they focused on. They weren't really, you know, the family members sending cards for your birthday every year, right? But when you would see them, I feel like there was such an excitement. And now, in a way, I feel like you kind of, it's almost like you really recognize them in yourself. And you have maybe become the person that, you know, you connect with people in an authentic way. And if you're in the same kind of frequency and you know, energetic zone together, right? Your energies match, then it's easy for you to really connect with people. But then when it's somebody, even like, you know, a family member who you love, respect, you know them well, they know you well, and it should be super comfortable, if they aren't kind of on the same tip as you, then it's really difficult for you to have anything beyond these kind of superficial or material conversations. And what do I mean by material? I don't mean about money or things. I mean, you know, mundane stuff. You're talking about, you know, domestic things and work things and, you know, just the doings of life, this kind of collective reality. not really talking about these deeper spiritual concepts and things that fill your head and your, you know, your creativity and the whatever it is that you're focusing on and researching. You're not really talking to them about these things. And that's where you want to spend your time. So there becomes this disconnect. If I can't talk to you about the stuff that I'm obsessed with, you know, or, well, I'm not saying you're really obsessed, but you might be, then, you know, I don't have much to say to you. And it's not anything personal, and it's not anything, you know, it's not a negative thing. It's just you're wrapped up in what you care about, right? And so I feel like it is like a birthing process happening. And I feel like you feel very close to and almost kind of covetous of this creation that you're making. And I do feel that this could be one of the great things, part of the, you know, true magnum opus of your life, right? The great works of your life, of your endeavors, and so on. So I want to take a look and just see. We're going to look at the oracle of the radiant sun here, and I'm going to flip through. I want to see kind of what is the energy of the next, you know, I don't know, couple weeks. Okay. Now we have this defeated feeling, and I don't know that there is actually a defeat, but the anticipation, right? And that is what I just hope that we can expel that, right? Because it is not of service to the greater goal. So we have concentration. Absolutely. That is the energy. And look at that. There's even the web, right? Remember the word we saw, web, in the tea leaves? So we have also versatility, and resistance. And we have that bowl. There we go. And we have the bowl. All right. So, yes, I do feel like now there is this real, I mean, I just feel you so immersed in this world, in your interior world. I see you working and coming home and immediately getting back to work on whatever your creative process is. It's the only thing that you want to talk about, the only thing you're thinking about, you know, just absolutely taken by it. Here's the thing. There needs to be a little bit of tempering, I believe. Now, as a person that, you know, I would call myself a creative to some degree, right? I wouldn't go so far as saying I'm a true artist or anything, but I try, you know? And so I can kind of understand, you know, getting lost in the work. And I also, you know, hate to even advocate for balancing yourself out so that you are taking care of your mundane life so that you may create, because it feels so distractive. But at the same time, this is what we must do. We must find a way to be versatile, right? You know, to live as an artist, to live as a creative, you're also a human being. You're also doing the same things that most of us are doing, right? Cleaning and cooking and trying to make some money to pay the bills and being with our families and friends and, you know, taking care of ourselves and so on. And that doesn't stop just because we get into a creative mode. Even if we have people around us who are very supportive of our creative endeavors, we can't rely on somebody to just absolutely do everything for us. So I think that there needs to be at least the reminder to self that you have to, you know, take time to be in the quote unquote real world and doing the things that you need to do, so that, yeah, you don't get so far into this place and then when you finish, you walk out of your studio and your life is in shambles. It's, you know, chaotic and messy and everything is kind of just, you know, up in the air at that point. So the other part is the resistance. And that to me really has to do with the fear of trying to grasp at your creativity and inspiration, holding on to the muse with, you know, for dear life. We have to try to refrain from getting into those anxious places, because it really is, you know, as soon as you start trying to hold on to something so tightly, it's going to just disappear. It turns to sand and just kind of, you know, flows through your fingers. And so another place of tempering, you know, allowing yourself to just be in the place, be in the flow, not worrying about, you know, am I going to wake up tomorrow and be back into like a writer's block? You know, so that we are our own worst enemies, right? When we get into these places where we're overthinking it. And so let's take a look over here. And I want to see, it looks like we have NT, it could be initials. And then, so we have NT right here. And it looks like we have a shoe. We have two people. We have, it looks like a little island with a tree on it. Maybe it's a person and a dog. And then we have half, the fraction 1/2. So half. So I feel that I just feel like there's a sense of really going into like a hermit mode. And it's not like the hermit in the sense that you are intentionally separating yourself from people and you know, responsibilities and situations. But I think that it really is that feeling of being kind of lost in the thing. Not lost, but just really immersed. And so I wonder if it would be of use to you to have maybe a schedule. And I know not all people, not all creatives, right, really want to be scheduling, oh, this is the time I have carved out, this, you know, couple hours where I can go be creative. Because, you know, sometimes the inspiration strikes and it's like, well, I'm, you know, in the middle of traffic and I'm kind of stuck here. Although I do have a couple hours planned out later, and hopefully I can continue to feel inspired as I am right now so that I can make use of that time. But the reality of being an adult, of being a person who has a lot of things going on, you know, it might be something to try. And I wonder if it has been kind of a resistance to having a more kind of planned out routine or schedule that includes your creativity and your creative time. I feel, you know, the impulse is I just want to go to an island. I want to turn off my phone. I'm just going to be here until I'm done making this thing. But I just don't feel that this is going to end up being of use to you if you just kind of disappear into your own world. And in fact, I feel like it could cause a lot of turmoil. Especially if you're in a relationship, especially if you have kids, right? So I feel like it's this sense of cutting in half the time that you can spend there. And learning to work with that, learning to work within that time frame. And so I think that this is kind of the big challenge, the lesson of now, okay? And ultimately, you know, you are so adaptable, Leo. You are able to really work within the conditions that are, you know, presented to you or that you create for yourself. And I do feel like you end up excelling in this. I actually think that surprisingly, surprisingly to you probably, that having the routine might actually foster more creativity. And so maybe something to try. Okay. Now, I'm going to do our gratitude affirmation cards. I'm going to flip through. I'm going to stop where it feels right. And it says, The Alchemist. I am grateful for the golden power of my thoughts and their ability to mold reality. With creative energy and proactive steps, I take ideas and shape them into physical results. Practice. What ideas or dreams do you have for your life? What are concrete steps you can take to see these dreams become reality? So perfect card. Absolutely perfect card for our message today. Now, not Taurus, Leo. Leo, I'm sorry, don't get it mixed up. It is a Leo reading. Leo, I want to tell you I love you because I do, and I hope that you know that. And also, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Absolutely. What else? Oh, if you're new to the channel, shout it out in the comment section. Let me know that you've been here. Yeah, and I think that's it. All right, Leo, I love you. Take care of yourself. We'll talk real soon. Good night.